What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mike, and since I'm running the solo show, this is the Coffee Time Kicks, and I have someone here who really I just discovered, I say a few months ago, changed my life from doing a bunch of work with all these sneakers, but the homie Mike Ogden from Unboxed App, I should say the creator of the Unboxed App. What's good, Mike? How's everything going, man?
I can't complain, man. Here to see another day and keep building up some tech. So, I appreciate you having me on and glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, happy to have you on. And before we get going, I want to ask this question. I always ask it everybody, or started asking everybody on the show, since it is Coffee Time Kicks, just because I have an addiction to caffeine and sneakers. If you're going out get coffee or tea, whatever it may be, what's the shoe you're throwing on?
Ooh, right now, what's heavy, just when I'm going out and making some quick runs, are the Black Cement 3s that just came out last year. Those I passed on them in 2018, and then I tried to circle back. So I regretted that. So they are definitely getting heavy wear in my rotation these days, for sure. So coffee runs, got to go with the Black Cement 3s right now.
I need to re-up on that pair because I skipped on that one. I skipped on the 2018 because I had the 2011s. And but they are sadly just disintegrating, like falling apart completely. Back tab fell off. One of the soles is separated completely from the shoe. I'm like, I guess it's about that time I should replace these at some point in my life.
Yeah, it might be time, and get it while the price isn't bad. Don't do like me and wait for 2 years and that price shoots up. So strike while the irons are decent, at least.
So if you say that, it's like it's such a For people like us, it's a great time for sneakers. I'm not worried about, I don't have to worry about the resale. I can walk into places and be very surprised this is here.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not good for the stacks behind me because it just adds more nonsense, but I can take my time. I'm not having to just fiercely click things. So it's a good time to be a sneakerhead. I mean, and it just really, I think, coincides with what you're doing. So with Unbox, people are being able to inventory, keep track of their sneakers in their collections, because I mean, if you guys see my background, things get lost in piles. It's not on purpose. It's a thing when you collect things get lost. You find two years later, it's falling apart now. What Mike is offering to people is a very amazing solution. And Mike, I'm gonna let you really intro that and talk about Unboxed.
No, I appreciate it. And Mike, I'm in the same boat. I got stuff back here, and that's just a little bit. That's not including.
This is a taste.
Yeah, right. This is just a little snippet. That's all. Like most of us, right? So, essentially, the way we kind of, talk about Unbox is really like a service or a platform that allows you to better catalog and manage your collection, right? So a lot of times, once you hit a certain threshold of a number of pairs of shoes, you forget what you have in your inventory. And sometimes you're buying pairs that you already had. Sometimes pairs are just sitting that you forgot you had. So what we wanted to do is create something that allows you to quickly look at what you have in your shoe closet, essentially, like a Foot Locker, like a wallet Foot Locker, and you can just quickly see what you have. You can see what you have. You can track when you last wore it, so you can see what hasn't been worn in a while, decide to wear it. You could sit here and as you track your wears, the condition automatically, updates.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yep. So as long as you're tracking it, when you're wearing it, it'll update the condition, recommended condition, real-time market value of your shoes. So if it's something that you've just been sitting on and hasn't been getting worn and it's appreciated and you want to get rid of it, you can do that. And that's just the things that Unbox does around the organization piece of the app. So there are, other things that we can get into as far as what it does, but it's mainly to help you get an understanding, some intel about what you have in your sneaker closet.
That's awesome, because again, this is one of those things. It's hard because you start getting something in rotation, just like I'm gonna keep wearing it. I'm gonna keep wearing it, and then something's getting pushed further and further back in the closet. I mean, I've gone in just doing cleanups and wait, when did I buy this? Yeah. How long have I had this? I keep receipts in the boxes too, so I'm looking back and that was 3 years ago. Why did I wear it? I'm really good about wearing them, but it's just after the first wear, maybe it just kind of got pushed aside.
That's what happens. I got a pair of Travis fragments that I've had for a little over 2 years and haven't worn it yet. Haven't worn them. I didn't even realize how long I'd had them. I actually went to the app and I was like, when did I buy these? And I looked and I was like, this makes no sense. Like I paid X amount of dollars for these shoes and I haven't worn it. They're
Like,
sitting here.
pull them out. Come on.
For something like that, I gotta figure. I can't throw those on when I'm running to go get coffee or Walmart or something. I gotta pull those out for the right occasion. So they're gonna get some wear hopefully in 2025.
There you go. Put them on the list like must wear. Send an alert, a notification. We got to put these on.
Right, I'm about to say like I got to do something with it because it makes no sense. They're just sitting there. So yeah, I get it. You get comfortable with certain pairs in your rotation, and next thing you know, things start getting pushed down. So yeah, I need to.
I tell you this, what makes it worse. So my normal 9 to 5, I work from home.
Okay,
so I don't go nowhere. I don't go nowhere. Like I'll be the first to admit that I go nowhere. So anytime I even leave the house, I'm like, I gotta put something on. It make no sense. I'm out here throwing stuff on to go to like HEB, the grocery store, whatever. And they're like, why are you? I'm like, look, I'm never gonna wear this unless I can do it now. So I have to do this. So when I go to church, I'm like, look, man, just let me live.
I understand that all too well. It was a point in time where I couldn't wear sneakers to my job. And so I was just throwing on shoes just to get out. And so I remember this time I had the Dornbecker 2s.
Oh yeah.
And, I just wore them to Walmart. I was like, I just need to wear these. I'm telling you, I didn't even realize you would never think people at Walmart would know what you have on. I must have got stopped at least 4 or 5 times, and people are like, "Why are you wearing those out to here?" And I'm just like, I just need to give them some wear.
I need to. Like, I don't want them to crumble on me. Like,
right. Like, I just need to get them on my feet. So I get it. Sometimes you just throw like that opportunity you get out the house is like, okay, what are we lacing up?
So what was it that issue that sparked the idea for Unbox? Or what made you come up with it?
So the issue, of course, that sparked it was just having too many shoes. Essentially, before I started getting front drop boxes, like most of us, and some of us still now, you have boxes of shoes just piled up. And so I was trying to I wanted a white and red pair of sneakers to wear with an outfit, right? Mm-hmm. And so I start going through and I'm digging through boxes and I come across a white and red pair and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna wear these. Now, of course, I don't know everything that I had in my collection at the time. So probably, a couple weeks pass, I'm going through more boxes, and I come across another white and red pair of shoes that I would have much rather have worn. It was the white and red, the metallic 89s. Ooh. And I said, dog, I would have much rather have had this. So I said, okay, this is getting out of hand. So I said, I'm going to create a spreadsheet, right? So I created a spreadsheet and I got real specific. I'm literally cutting out the stock images, putting it in the spreadsheet, the style numbers, the dates born, all this, right? And I'm going through all this. And it got to a point where I'm like, this is so tedious because I sit in front of a computer all day at work. I don't want to come home and sit in front of another computer, even just to log my shoes, right? Yep. So I said, okay, there's got to be something out there that exists that lets you track your shoes. So I'm going through and I'm doing some research, and I come across one app that actually is supposed to be able to help you catalog your shoes. I paid for the app. It was like $6.99, I think it was.
Yeah.
I go and start trying to upload some of my shoes. It had none of my shoes. None of them, right? So come to find out, the company had like 5 different businesses around cataloging. You can catalog CDs, DVDs, comic books, shoes. Yeah. So they weren't focused on one thing. So I said, okay, let me see if this is a product and a problem that other sneakerheads have.
Oh yeah.
So at the time I was in, Nike Talk. I was in another group of, sneakerheads. And I just floated the idea out there to the group, right? Like, hey, if there was an app or a product that helped you catalog and keep, track of your collections, would it be something that you'd want? And it was like resounding, like, yes, like that would be something. So right there, I knew, okay, I got an idea right here. And that's where the thought process of Unbox came into play. And then from there, it was like execute. But yeah, that's where it started off. The pain point of, I got too many shoes and I can't find and remember what I got.
Yeah, man. Like, it's funny, like we were talking before we got on, but you did the same thing I did. I got a spreadsheet. I'm sitting here just wheeling stuff out next to my desk chair. SKU number, color codes. Oh my God. I was putting in condition. And I was even putting in last date worn if I remembered. I'm like,
yeah.
I got to a
Yeah.
certain number. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm actually giving myself a job I'm not even getting paid for right now.
All right. It's work,
It
like
was so much work.
you want it to be easy, but yeah, and that's what happened. It just got to the point where, and if I didn't remember to do something that day, after 2 or 3 days, it's like, oh, now I got to go back and log all this.
Piles
It just
up on you,
became,
man.
yeah, it piles up and it becomes tedious, and it's like, okay, it's got to be a better solution.
Oh
So
yeah. So what I loved was when I tried your app, it was the fact that I can go to the little SKU number code, the barcode, click it. I was like, oh my god, that was the biggest game changer right there. I didn't have to sit there because so even if you do something like on a like Goat for example, if there's pairs like maybe I want something and I'm like, okay, maybe I could get rid of something else to get the cash for it instead of just bringing new stuff in. You gotta sit there and type in the SKU number on the tag, but it's a game changer to go in and be able to say, oh, let me take that picture of the barcode. It's like it makes it so much easier.
it does, and for the most part, we do a good job with the sources we have capturing those barcodes. Now, there are some where you do have to punch in the SKU. But for the most part, yeah, we do a pretty good job sourcing out the barcodes because again, and that could be a big turnoff, right? Like I have, if you have X number, like 200 pairs of shoes or more, you're sitting here thinking about it like, I don't want to sit here and go through this. So it's just like, what's the quickest way to get you bought in, right, to wanting to upload your stuff into it? So it's got to be some method or way that allows you to quickly get your stuff in versus, like you said, typing it out. Because if you had 500 pairs and you're like, I got to type every SKU number out, you're going to be turned off. You're not going to want it. So we try and keep up with, capturing as many barcodes as we can. And, in some instances, shoes are coming out early and we may not get that barcode early enough. But I think the big thing is, I think the most tedious thing, Mike, is that initial process of getting all your stuff in. Because once you do that, it's just one-offs. Like I'm buying one pair a week.
Yeah, instead of let me get that bulk upload is the worst part. It's like changing the information system. Like, oh, I'm gonna go from this, and then I gotta move all this information here. That's the hardest part. But it's what you guys did makes it easier. And once you've done it, it's like you say, you have all those metrics behind it.
Yeah,
it helps you keep up the collection, be more responsible. Because like, if I go in a collection or go in Unbox, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a cool pair of Jordan 1s. Oh, I have 5 pairs I haven't even touched. Maybe I should not even go buy this. Like, makes you think a little bit more. Like, I mean, at least for me, it's like, be a little bit more responsible. I don't need that right now. I need to go untie these bad boys and get moving.
Right, like you said, we're trying to ultimately we're trying to give you more intel on your collection so that you can make whatever choices you want to make. Like you said, whether it be, oh man, I got 5 pairs I haven't touched, I need to do something with this. I'm sitting here like the last 8 pairs I've bought, I haven't worn because I'm in that rut of, certain pairs that I'm comfortable with, right?
You stick with them, yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at how much you've spent or all that, it kind of starts making you think, man, you just spent all this money on, let's even just say $200 a pair, and you got 8 pairs. It's like, dog, that's essentially $1,600 that's just sitting there. Like, I need to do something with it, whether it be wear it or I'm thinking to myself, I could have spent that $1,600 on something else, right? So,
all the time. I'll sit there looking. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not wearing it. Then I said, open the box. Do I feel anything with this? Nope. All right, so it's time to move on from this pair. It's like, it's not like, oh, I want to go resell this thing. It's like, no, I just have to I'm gonna buy something else, so let me get funds from this to go buy this other thing if I'm gonna buy it,
Exactly, and that's how it gets. Like sometimes, and but what, Mike, the thing is, and you said this earlier when we were talking, because the market is changing right now, the climate with resale, it's a lot better. Because before, we're out there rushing to just buy the stuff. We may not even love it or want it that much right now. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to pay resale for it. So you go out there and you just buy something and then you have it and then you wind up sitting on it. Then later on, it's like, I didn't really love it like that, but I didn't want to spend more on it, right? So you just buy it and you're stuck with extra stuff. Now, where things are a lot more accessible, now you don't have to sit out here and rush to buy stuff right away. You can kind of sit back, take your time. It could be a month, it could be 2 months, and then really say, okay, do I want this? Cool, versus being rushed into getting something that you just don't really want. So now it's like a great time. Now,
have you guys gone to any of the I know of course, you guys, we talked about going to Afrotech with the Black Tech conference here down in the Houston area. But do
Mhm.
you guys do any of the like the sneaker events, like sneaker cons and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
I have a business partner. Matter of fact, my business partner is out close to your way. He's in the Dallas area.
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool.
yeah, but he's more behind the scenes. He admittedly is like introvert. That's not his thing. Me, I'm all about. I'm trying to be in the streets, right? So but I like talking to that's how we create a better product, right? It's not
Yeah.
just about what we want. It's about really embracing and talking to the community and
Hmm.
taking their feedback. And I get feedback all the time via email. It's all respectful,
Oh,
things we
awesome.
didn't think about and things that we are thinking about. So I've definitely been to now I haven't been to SneakerCon in a I don't. Matter of fact, I went last year to one. Matter of fact,
Okay.
yeah, I did go to one last year. But I used to go to sneaker cons pretty heavy early on.
Hmm.
Like I'm in DC, Miami, Dallas, always, Atlanta,
Yeah.
so New York when they had New York. So I used to be pretty heavy into the sneaker cons, but then I kind of started to backpedal a little bit and figure out what are the rooms and the conferences that I need to be at to
For sure.
help us grow. So for me, we need, we're bootstrapped. Like everything
Mhm.
has been what the company generates and what's out of pocket. We have
Yeah.
no investors as far as like big time investors. We don't
Yeah. Yeah.
friends and family, even some of the users have invested in Unbox. So for me, it's about positioning myself to go to some of these conferences like an Afrotech where you can get in front of some entrepreneurs who understand tech, who want to fund some of these minority owned businesses. That's
Yeah.
not to say I still won't go to any sneaker cons because I think SneakerCon Atlanta is coming up. I may actually go there.
Nice. Yeah.
Dallas, I'm sure when Dallas comes,
Yeah.
I'll probably be in Dallas, so I do still hit sneaker events when they align with my schedule for sure. Because I love getting out there and I know a good amount of people, so I love seeing people I haven't caught up with in a while.
Nice. And when you guys go, is it more like, hey, just trying to meet people, or is it like I'm setting up this table and really promoting the brand and the technology?
It's really about more about meeting people.
Okay.
So I actually years ago I did a table. I went to something called this Michigan Sneaker Exchange,
Okay.
and I'd set up a table, and I had a TV that's showing the demo and all this
Oh,
other
cool.
stuff. But what I came to realize, the cost that's affiliated with it just wasn't enough. The cost just wasn't worth it, right? Because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, people are coming to SneakerCon and they're stopping at tables to buy shoes, right?
Hmm.
Um, they're not stopping to look at and get a demo of an app and all these other things. And so I had to take a look and say, okay, the cost to get a table, to fly out there, I got ambassadors or friends who would help out,
Yeah.
creating QR codes for people to scan. The cost to do that would not be worth the return.
For sure.
And there are other ways that I can, advertise like on meta ads or through
Yeah.
influencers, that I think would yield better results. So I go
Yeah.
out there to catch up with people I haven't seen in a while and then,
Dope.
network with, other individuals and see if there are opportunities maybe to partner on some things, see what they
Okay.
got going on and how can we help them and vice versa. So it's really about the fellowship and just kind of, getting in the weeds with the community.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like they probably price those tables expecting you to be selling something. So they're like, oh, you're going to be selling X amount of shoes, so you'll be able to afford this table as opposed to, again, you're marketing the idea, marketing the technology. It's different, it's something different. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from where it just wouldn't
Right.
be a financially, like, I guess, a conducive idea for you guys to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's something that we may look into down the line again and
Hmm.
reevaluate. But right, we're for what the return would be, it just wouldn't be worth the spend.
For sure. No, I get that 100%. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, to get out there, like that's the important thing. We talk about it all the time. It's just the relationship building. It's not you can't just like start pushing like something without being able to like know the people, get their feedback because it's the most important part of the success of any business, but especially when you're kind of sneakers in such a niche hobby,
Oh
you
yeah.
really have to like be out there.
Yeah,
Now,
you do. You definitely do. And a lot of the support we get comes from just being out there, right? People
hmm
know who I am and this, that, and the third. And again, to your point, just people appreciate the fact that their feedback is coveted, and it's a part of shaping the platform. Like I tell people all the time, without our users, there's no Unboxed, right? So they are very important they are the brand essentially, right? They build, the platform.
Yeah. So when you go to so if we switch gears from, of course, sneaker trade shows or sneaker events, going to places like Afrotech, going to more tech related conferences, what are you guys seeing? Because again, sneakers are so niche, so like we're in our little world here.
Right.
What kind of feedback are you getting from those like deep into these other parts of tech?
Well, so when I went to Afrotech, the feedback was actually pretty solid. I actually connected up with I want to say 3 or 4 investors
Okay.
about some things to potentially do down the line, and then other, also tagging up with other minority business entrepreneurs who are in tech. And the thing I look at it is I love connecting with those first of all, those other black business owners. I love connecting with them because sometimes being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. Let me tell you, definitely not for the weak. And I think that people see the success, or they see things that look great, but they don't know what goes on behind the scenes, right? Like if you're in it, you understand it. And so sometimes when I'm going through things, I'm like, dog, like this is rough. And sometimes you think it's just you, until when I got to Afrotech, and just other entrepreneurs I've talked to, they are having similar things. Like, there was a person who was on a panel that was there who spoke, and I mean, he was phenomenal. I had to go up to him, get his information and all that. And he and I have connected a couple times afterwards. And that conversation we had outside of Afrotech, he was like, Mike, let me tell you, I'm in the same boat as you. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, man. He said, I'm getting up there talking about my story and this, that, and the third. And he said, and it's all legit. He said, but just understand, like, I'm in the trenches just like you. I'm trying to generate the traffic just like you. I'm trying to get an investor just like you. So it's hearing those stories, because sometimes you be wanting to sit here and just throw in the towel. But when you hear these stories from all these different entrepreneurs who are going through the same pains and struggles and all that stuff, it really sits here and tells you, okay, you just got to keep your head down and keep pushing, because it's just not you. It's just how things are as an entrepreneur, and especially, a black entrepreneur, because we aren't given access to certain groups and circles of people who have the capital that they're willing to just give you, right? And so there's that aspect. And then on the entrepreneur side, that was good, because they were asking, questions that made me think to say, okay, as an owner, I need to make sure I'm paying more attention to this, because if this is what these investors are asking, others are, right? And sometimes, when they're put you on the spot, if you can't answer certain questions, that could be the difference between getting a deal and not getting a deal.
Yeah, they're like, well, I got to move on now.
Right, exactly. So you have to really be honed in on understanding your business and certain things that they're looking for and all that. But then they're also giving you good feedback as far as, whether, like, oh, okay, we like what you're doing with that space. Have you considered X, Y, Z? And it's like, I didn't think about that. So I think you got, from that perspective, like an Afrotech or these tech-based conferences, it really kind of opens your mind up to, thinking more and more deeper as far as like an entrepreneur. So.
And that's amazing to hear that, like being able to go to this place where like-minded people are, again, even though you're in different spaces of tech, being able to say, oh man, you know what? We're dealing with the same struggle, being able to have that community, that relationship with people. And that's one of the things I feel like on the like sneaker, like content creator side, I think a lot of that's missing, because everyone's fighting for attention and space, and they forget that we're all going through a lot of the same struggles. You coming together and being, like you said, hey, let's share the experience. Like we'll be able to find ways through it.
Yep.
That makes a world of change. And that's where you can really see, like, hey, that's why people, like I say, look at tech. That's why they're succeeding, because guess what? They can truly collaborate with somebody and have that shared experience, while you're sitting here like trying to do the whole gatekeeper thing. Now you're struggling in silence if something happens. So I like that you're able to go in and say, yeah, I was able to talk to this person, or be able to get that person, that the speaker's information, and be able to build a relationship to keep growing. That's what it's all about. I mean, sneakers, tech, whatever it may be, but that's just an awesome thing to be able to hear that you have that availability, you and your business partner, to go in and get like the conversation started as you guys keep growing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's how it should be, right? Like even to your point, like I said, content and sneakers, right? I feel like you know, people are afraid of people, you know, they're afraid of not necessarily people look at it as competition, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, there might be ways for us to collab and work together and people are just kind of threatened. And it's just like that shouldn't be the thought process, right? Like if I'm you know, I've had people reach out to me about different things, right? People have reached out to me about apps. I've heard of people who have apps that are similar but not the same. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, you know, I can, you know, and I've helped, you know, connect some people with some people they couldn't get in front of who I know, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm all about I'm really all about trying to help. Like that's how it should be because I want to see, you know, good people succeed. So I'm not
Yeah.
sitting here like, oh yeah, I got to be at the top of the mountain and I'm trying to keep you at the bottom. It's just like, you know, like if I can help bring you up or build up your business, that's fine. And if for some reason your business happens to take off past mine, then, you know, that's great for you. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't sit here and look at it as I don't want to help some. Now, if you're doing some shady stuff, because I've
It's a
definitely
different story there.
it's a different story. I've had some people reach out about doing some things, and I'm like, your character seems a little off, and I don't want to be affiliated with that. But if you know, if for real, like you're, you know, if I know, you know, and I know a lot of people, so if I ask around about you, or if I see you active on certain platforms, or I see you at events and hear certain things, and you know, and I'm pretty good judge of character. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, let me kind of help plug you or give you some tidbits on how to kind of build up your thing. I met somebody. Matter of fact, the funny thing is, I remember I met somebody in 2007. I want to say it was 2017, 2018 at a sneaker con.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years later, the dude builds an app, and he was like, "I built this app because of our conversation at that sneaker con." Didn't know the guy at all.
Yeah.
Didn't meet him on Instagram. I just happened to meet him at sneaker con, and he was like, "Yeah," he
That's
said, "You
awesome.
know," he said, "I just wanted to let you know I started my app because of our conversation and you taking the time to talk about it at sneaker con. So here we are." I'm like, "Oh, great." You know, I said, "Best of luck to you. You know, if there's anything I can do to help, cool." But yeah, man, like it's all about trying to help build people up, you know? So yeah.
Oh, for no, 100%, and that's I love to hear that. 'Cause it's like you inspire somebody, whether it was a quick conversation,
Yep.
or they saw what you're doing. It's like you're a source of like a positive influence on someone, as opposed to like, I don't know, I don't want to share this space.
Right.
Which I mean, it's I guess in yes, in theory, it always will be a little bit of competition between anything that's like, you know, like the others.
Of course.
But it doesn't have to be. There's so much space and so much audience. Just pick your target audience,
Yep.
you know, build around those people, and then expand from there. Which I think you guys have done extremely well at that. I mean, you said there's a couple other apps out there. I haven't heard of anybody else but you guys right now.
Yeah, I think so. You know, Mike, you know, right now I think there was one other app that came out similar not too far after us, but then I haven't heard much from them. They kind of started to deviate towards something else, but I mean,
Okay.
there's nothing else out there that does what we're doing as a whole, right? Where
Yeah.
you can catalog your shoes, we do push notifications, we've partnered up with a company where you can authenticate and get a certificate of authenticity on the app.
Oh.
I mean, so there's just a bunch. Matter of fact, we got, which we haven't rolled out to everybody yet. It's in beta.
Yeah.
Well, we have something where you know, we've integrated AI in with the app so that it can help you pick out outfits to go with the kicks in your closet. So, I mean,
That's awesome.
you know, like there's a lot of things. When it comes to us, we're very forward thinking. I feel like a lot of other people try and see what's popular and they try and copy the same thing and make very small tweaks, right? We're not trying to copy somebody else. Like when we came out with, or, you know, when I had the concept of Unbox, like, you know, somebody had something out, but it was terrible. So
Yeah.
everything we do, we're trying to be the first at it. We were the first, you know, we used to offer a sneaker dedicated insurance. We were the first company that did that, right? Now we discontinued the product because, you know, people just, I think sometimes you can be too early for something, right? Like
Yeah.
we weren't ready for it, you know, but we're very forward thinking. Everything we do is not, let's see what you're doing, let's copy it. It's where's the gap in the community and the culture, and how can we fill that gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask, so with the authentication service that you offer,
Mm-hmm.
do you got, is it once you've entered your shoe in the system as you can authenticate it, or is it a separate, like you can do kind of one off, like, oh, I'm gonna buy the shoe from somebody, I want to see if it's real first?
So you can essentially you would have to add that shoe in.
Hmm.
Now, if you want to take it off, you can. So if there's a shoe, matter of fact, I did this once. I went to a thrift store and there was a pair of I think it was what the fives, right?
Okay.
And so what I did was I just added it into the app, right? And while I was at the thrift store, I went through and I did the authentication. I got the results back in 5 minutes. Turned out they were fake. Left them there. Took it right off the app. So you can use it, before a purchase. And I've done that. Matter of fact, I've done that at some sneaker cons, right? I've authenticated some stuff there just to show them how it works and for people buying something. But you would, although you would have to load it in first, but then
it's fine. I mean, there's worse things you have to do. I mean,
yeah, right, exactly. Look, if it saves me from buying a fake, I'm all for it. So
exactly. Like I'd rather take 5 minutes of my time uploading something as opposed to me spending a couple $100 on something that's not real.
Exactly.
So, that's really cool. I didn't know you guys had it in there. So that's
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you're offering like this full service, like not only organizational tool, but now you can, like say it's a beta, but now you can help me pick outfits.
Yep.
Is it based on, it's like, hey, I'm uploading my clothes, or just like, here's some different color schemes that would go together?
So you would upload your stuff. So what you do is a couple things. One, you got two options, right? You can have a pair of shoes and you could ask it to pick an outfit out for you. And it'll pick out an outfit for you from the top to the bottom. It can pick it out for you. Or what you can do is, hey, I have this shirt, because most times you're matching your shirt with your kicks, not your pants. It's, hey, I got this shirt. So you take a picture, upload it. It'll take a look at the picture of the shirt. Then what it'll do is it'll pick out 3 colors that kind of coincides with the shirt. So let's say white, red, or blue, right? And then from there you can say, okay, I want white kicks, red kicks, or blue kicks. You select that, and then what it'll do is it'll go through your closet and it'll give you some options of shoes that it thinks will work. If you don't like some of those options, you can tell it that, and then it'll give you more options to pick.
Now you need to go ahead and I'm just thinking for my wife, go ahead and make one for like women's shoes. And if, you know how much time you can save some husbands on the street?
Look, we want to at some point get there, right? I would love to get to the point where we're just doing women's shoes. I think that market would be huge.
That would be insane. Like the catalog you would have to have in that. You thought sneakers were bad.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I'm sure we get some shoes going, and I think it would be good. I actually got asked by an investor a few years back about that. Like, hey, you ever think about women's shoes? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I said, I think that'd be a great market. I think it would be clearly a separate product. It would be the same tech, but a separate product, because you're marketing to 2 different, which is what I told them. You're marketing to 2 different audiences, right? So I got to master this sneakerhead audience first before I can go over into the women audience, because I'm not a woman, so I would I don't really know. But
it's one who knows better. It's like one of those like, I don't know what I don't know. It's
right? Yeah, it's like, okay, well, so once we get this, that's something that we had thought about. But yeah, it's definitely things that we could spin off from this for sure.
Yeah. And when you talk about investors, clearly, it's always the dream to get the investors who let you run the business the way you want,
right?
As opposed to coming in and trying to change things.
Yep.
Do you guys ever think like look at like the Googles or like the Metas and things like that, and it's like, is that the goal? Or do you say, I really have the smaller investors come in where I can still have control of everything?
It's a matter of, I say this, right? I think we would rather have the smaller ones come in so we can have control. And the thing is, I have my days where I will sit here and complain like, man, I see everybody else getting investors and this, that, and the third. And I know people who have had big money investments and they're going through issues, right? Because when you get big investments, they're on your back, right? So they want you to conform to what they want so that they can get their return faster. Yeah. So the thing about us is, because we're smaller and bootstrapped, it's forced us to have to get smarter about a lot of things that if we had the money, I would have just paid somebody else to do, right?
Yeah.
It's forcing us now to understand how to do certain things better, so that when we do bring somebody in, we have better oversight of what they're doing. But B, it allows us to still maintain control in the direction of what we want to take Unbox and where we want to take it to be at this point. So it's like a gift and a curse, right?
For sure.
I would love to get big $1 million investment, but I know what comes with that, right? There's a lot of, that's where it really gets hectic. Like, you're not making these numbers, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll get there at some point. But right now, I wouldn't want somebody as big as like a Google or a Meta, for example, unless it was now at some point, once we build the company up to a certain status and they wanted to acquire us,
it's like, that's a different story.
by all means, like, come on in, Google, Meta, Amazon, whoever you are, come on in. But as far as helping us to build up to where we are before we get to that position where we can be acquired, I prefer, smaller investors.
Have you guys ever thought, I mean, for sure you haven't, feel like you guys have a good enough product to make that presentation, but like Shark Tank, have you guys ever thought about applying to that?
I actually did think about it. I actually applied to it a couple years back, and I wasn't selected. Then I looked at doing it again, and I had missed the submission deadline.
Okay.
And I need to look at it again to see what it is, and what it would be. Because I'm totally down for that for sure. Definitely, but I know how those sharks are. They be, I'm gonna give you 250,000 for like 80%. Because the funny thing is, we did. It's one of those things where it's kind of touch and go. We did have at one point, we had someone who was a user who wanted to invest in Unboxed, and they wanted to give us was it 150,000 or 250,000? Might have been 150 or 250,000, maybe one of the two, but it was for like 17%, and we can't give up that big of a percentage this soon, because when somebody's coming in with millions to invest, they are going to want a sizable chunk. And at the end, we have to sit here and say, by the time we've given money out to investors and whoever, this, that, and the third, what percentage do we want to be left with at the end, right? Yeah. I know in my head what's the lowest percentage I want to be left with, but giving up that much that early, could have been problematic. Now, in theory, it looks good. Like, man, that 250,000 or whatever it was, maybe it was 350. I don't even remember. That would have been good to kind of jumpstart some things.
Later.
So I kind of sit here and look and say, should I have taken that? Because we could have been further ahead. But would I have given up too much too soon? Potentially. So, it's
always good to evaluate, though. Cause I know some people are just so like, I got to get this off the ground. They see the first check that pops up.
Yep.
They give up all this equity to the company, and it comes out, we're actually doing really good. Now this person has so much say, and it's like, man, I should just wait because but I like that you guys are very self-aware to be able to evaluate and have that self-belief to say, hey, you know what? We good for now.
Right.
We're going to take these, XYZ investors for this, disclosed percentage, but knowing that, hey, you know what? We know we are worth and what we want to be, what we want to hold before we move on to something bigger. So I like that you guys are not just jumping at the first offer that pops up. I mean, I think there's a lesson to a lot of business owners and anyone who's, again, an entrepreneur, even just if you're not a business owner, maybe you are the business and you're doing, you're looking for these different brand deals. Don't jump at the first thing. Evaluate, figure out what's best for you and, moving forward. So I think that's a good lesson for anybody who's trying to build something listening to you, Mike.
100%. Like you said, I think that's the thing. You get so, you want it so bad that you get blinded by the fact, like you said, that first check, right? Like let's be realistic. I think it was 350,000, but it's just like, man, that could have made a huge difference. Like to really jumpstart us and all that. But who knows? Looking back, that might have left us with less equity, down the line had we done that. So to your point, you have to be strategic. Don't be so gung ho about getting ahead. Like I tell people for like businesses like Amazon and Uber and Airbnb, they weren't profitable for 8, 9, and 15 years, right? Yep. So I mean, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yep, and those companies don't go public until they're making money hand over fist. Like they were going to be generating revenue. They've already got their money in their pocket. Then they're like, okay, who wants to come in and throw some more money in the pot?
Exactly. So you just got to be smart with it and don't get to be patient. That's all it is, about being patient. It's frustrating. Trust me, I'm frustrated often, but I'm patient because I know what we have and I know what the potential we have. Like Mike, we've got so much stuff sketched out and just on the back burner.
Yeah.
Like if I told you, you'd be floored. And I'm not even playing around. Like, it's ready. Like, so once we get to a point where we're comfortable and somebody invests, I'm telling you, like we're going. Our goal is to be the number one sneakerhead app. We want to be a one-stop shop. We don't want you to have to bounce around to all these different ones. Like we want to give you everything, all in one spot.
Oh yeah, and you've already got what 4 things already taken care of. You got the inventory organization.
Yep.
You're gonna have the help with the fashion side of things, matching outfits. You got market value, which everybody's looking at, and then of course the authenticity. So you've already knocked out 4 different apps and combine them into one.
Yep.
Now, as you guys keep adding pieces, is it the things, the investment that what you need? Is it for finding a proper, platforms to plug into this, or is it like the technology you guys need to build it from scratch? Like, what do you guys figure that you are spending most time in trying to do? Are you looking for outside sources, or are you doing everything in house? I should say.
So we're doing everything in-house, but the main thing, marketing, the main thing dollars would be good for is marketing, right?
Got you. Okay.
Because realistically, if our marketing is strong and we can get out to a bigger audience, that's going to drive more revenue for us. And then that revenue we can then spend and put back into the tech side of things, right?
Yeah.
And marketing is critical, Like I preach this all the time. It doesn't matter how great your product is if the marketing is not good, right? You have a terrible product and great marketing, and you're going to move the needle and do numbers, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have this great product and you're not getting that product in enough eyes, in front of enough eyes, and the visibility, you're not going to go anywhere. So I could sit here, you can give me $1 million and I can tech this thing out, right? But if I don't have the marketing to push it out in front of a bigger audience, it doesn't matter, right? Yep. It doesn't matter. Or I could take that $1 million right now and it unbox in its current state, and I can market it. And this thing would take off like a rocket, right? So, for us, it's more about, because, I'm an engineer by trade. I'm not a marketing person. So any marketing I do is just from reading and things that I've learned. And I got a long way to go on marketing. Matter of fact, I'm reading a marketing book right now on some stuff. But the money definitely, would be a big benefit for marketing, for sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
Where do you guys see your biggest success in marketing right now? Is it just through like the typical Instagram meta ads that get pushed out, or do you guys have a different source that you're finding has more success?
I would say meta ads. Well, I think so. Let's back up, Mike. I think it'd be a combination of things, right? Okay. Like we've got Seth Fowler, Unbreakable Kicks. They're both like partners with Unboxed, and so
cool.
Early on, they really helped push the message at Unbox, and it drove a good amount of downloads, right? And then recently, over the last few months, I've been playing around with meta ads, and that has had a tremendous impact on downloads as well, because it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and all this other stuff. So I feel like those marketing channels, in particular, Meta has really been critical for us. It just gets pricey. So the thing is, the more money you put in the budget towards that, the bigger audience you get in front of. And so for us, it's really about trying to, get more on that market. The other thing too that is untapped that, we're trying to get more savvy on is Reddit, right? Reddit is, we had one of my users, real good guy, unsolicitedly did a post on Reddit last week, right? Yeah. And for some reason, our downloads that day were like 10x what they normally are. And we're like,
from Reddit?
Is going from Reddit. And I
never would have thought. I mean, I know everyone, it's a little bit of everything there. You can just start, it's like this big forum and message board, but I didn't know that. Man, Reddit, all right, that's cool.
Reddit is massive. And the thing is, what people don't know is, and a lot of these guys, they sell on Reddit too. And honestly, they police Reddit harder than they do like a StockX. Like honestly, and no shade against StockX,
Yeah, I didn't know that though. I thought it was kind of a free for all on that thing.
Oh no, let me tell you something. I tried to buy a pair of Kobe Grinches, right? Because we do like giveaways and things like that on the app
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I tried to buy a pair of Kobe Grinches from a guy. The guy said to me, Have you bought a pair from anyone on this forum at all? Because I need to vet you. Vet me as the buyer.
Hey, I'm trying to
right?
give you money, dog.
I was like, yeah, I said, I bought a pair from such and such. So he went and checked with that guy. That guy confirmed, yeah, I did business with him, da da da. So
Yeah.
I asked the guy afterwards, I was like, yo, I said, that's crazy. I said, I would think I'd be the one vetting you to make sure that you're not selling me some fake shoes. And he was like, no, he said, that's why it's so tight knit, right? Like they're on it, they're on it. He's like, no, because people do chargebacks and this, that, and the third.
That makes sense.
You out too, because I'm selling you a $900 pair of shoes and all this other stuff. So they are very meticulous when it comes to, and I'm not saying things don't slip through the cracks because nothing's foolproof, but when it comes to policing, the sales and all that, that community is locked in. So
that's awesome. No.
That's a source people weren't aware of. But yeah, so Reddit is a great source. And like I said, this guy just happened to post. We didn't even know that he had posted it. We were trying to figure out where the traffic came from. And then we just happened to stumble on it and we looked further and we saw the post. And I was like,
that's cool.
So I had to hit the dude up and thank him and stuff. I was like, man, look, I said, I'm never going to forget this. I said, because, when I'm in a position, I said, I'll get you a pair of shoes or something. But just things like that, man, like when people just really love what the product and the service that we give, that unsolicited, post, that content, it goes a long way, especially in front of the right audience. So
yeah, that word of mouth is definitely something that's still important. I think that people forget that because there's so many different ways. Oh, let me make a post here. Let me put an ad here. Let me do that. Word of mouth is still, I think, the most powerful tool, especially when, like, as we talk about people kind of being wary of being scammed. I mean, there's unfortunately so many scammers out here nowadays. Right. And if you can get that word of mouth, like, hey, this company is really doing the right thing. This is what they do. And like you say, if they're so tightly knit and really policed on Reddit, that makes so much sense. And that's like the most profound and like perfect example of word of mouth, just how that worked. Like 10x the downloads in one day.
Yeah,
that's absolutely amazing.
Crazy. I was like, my business partner was like, hey man, did you do some kind of advertising yesterday? I was like, no, why? He said, man, look at this. And I was like, whoa. He was like, yeah, man, that's like 10x. Like, what happened? He said, we got to find that source.
Crazy.
Okay, yeah, man. So it was good stuff. That was definitely a good day. Definitely.
Hey, you know what? I think you just gave a little knowledge to the listeners out there. So anybody looking to advertise something, check Reddit. Like,
yeah, Reddit is they're pretty tight knit group, and some of these subreddits are like, huge amount of followers. Like the one for like outfits alone, right? We look at outfit type stuff, 140,000 in there. You got sneaker Reddit, like all these different things. We're talking like hundreds of thousands of people in these, subreddits. So, I mean,
I need to get in there more. Only time I ever use is like, I got this problem that popped up in my truck. What I I don't ever use it for like sneaker stuff. I always use it for like if I'm doing something around the house or something broke or I just want to answer to a question. I always type it in and Reddit always comes up first and it's like, all right, cool, I can compare these answers. But now there's a whole world underneath this I didn't know existed.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really use Reddit like that either. But there's a guy who is a pretty strong. He's really good at promoting how to market yourself, and he's been really heavy, according to my business partner, on how to promote on Reddit. So I'm going to probably do some digging and reading and trying to get familiarized with what can be done to leverage that platform. Because, it's not all about Instagram and Twitter or X and all that. You got to try and tap in all them channels, especially when you're a small business with no budget. You got to do what you can. Man. So, yeah.
Dang, I'm going to start doing that too. So we both could be in this learning curve. We're going to figure this out. Hold on.
That's awesome, say, look, we're going to learn together, Mike. We're going to learn together.
Yeah, we got the bounce ideas. Like, what did you find today? Because yeah, that's awesome, man. You guys have a ton of stuff. And I love how you guys are like organically growing your business. It's not just, like you said, it's not just this fake influx of cash. It is not just trying to throw every influencer or person in the sneaker world here. Everyone uses this app is a legitimate like organic growth, but you're able to do that because the product is proven. It's like it can do the job. Like you guys aren't giving this half concocted item to somebody or idea, so it's actually done. I think that is why you guys are sustaining as far as you have, and I think that's why you're going to be that go-to app here in the future, because you're doing the right things. I mean, integrity on it, like all that good stuff. It's the future going, man, and I love that, because everybody, like I said, there's just, especially in sneakers, unfortunately, there's just a more percentage of scammers than not sometimes.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what we try and pride ourselves on. We want to create this safe space where you can come in and feel, feel valued, where you can feel comfortable transacting and doing whatever, and that your voice actually is helping to shape the platform. Because a lot of times, people, and that's what I find. I appreciate the people. I love when people say the product is great. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I absolutely love when people are like, love the product. Is this something that you consider doing? And people will write out some lengthy emails about some things. And I appreciate that, because that tells me you really value the product. Because let's be realistic. We're busy, man. Like, I don't have time to be sitting here typing out these long emails to some stranger. And the fact that people take time to do that and, praise the app, but say, hey, here's, have you thought about this? I love that, because there are some things we weren't thinking of, number one. And number two, there are things that we are thinking of. And that shows us that we are aligned with our user base, and we're going in the right direction. So I absolutely love that kind of stuff, man. I do. It definitely makes a lot of the frustrations of a business owner, I look past the frustrations when I get those emails. So.
Oh yeah, because I mean, as you guys are considered to the customer, it's not like, hey, I'm going to do this and just whatever. Yep. It's, hey, we're still small to be able to turn this ship when needed. Yep. And then being able to be agile now gives you better standing when you guys do, blow up. So I think that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, nail on the head, Mike. Nail on the head.
That's awesome, man. I love what you guys are doing.
Appreciate
it. Anything that is, besides, of course, the beta you guys have now, picking out the clothes, but anything else coming down the pipeline before we finish up that you want to tell the world that you can? That's not. And I know you got the list of things you're working on, but what's the ones that you can talk about?
I got a big one I can't necessarily talk about yet. We do have some things that we're working on where we're trying to make it where it's more interactive, community based. So, right now people can, if you friend request other people, you can see what's in their collection and what they're wearing and adding, you can see in their feed. We're going to at some point integrate it to where people can actually, communicate.
Oh, cool.
We're going to have it to where, there was a feature that we talked about where when a shoe pops up in somebody's feed, if it's something that they may be interested in trying to buy, if you click on it and there's, let's say, a review from a YouTuber or influencer or somebody, it'll take you to a video of that shoe so you can get a better,
that's dope.
Firsthand look at that shoe. So, there are some things that we're really trying to do to add some value. I'm not saying we would never bring back the insurance. That may be something down the line that we bring back as well. Okay. I was kind of bummed that, it wasn't as popular. Like we had a decent amount of people, but it wasn't the numbers that we should have had for sure.
I'm surprised it wouldn't be. I mean, because home insurance, renter's insurance only covers so much. I'm very surprised that
people don't know that though. Like you know that. And the thing is, a lot of people feel that their renters or homeowners insurance covers them. And what we had was very different. It was, and we had several people who had claims too. We had a guy who had a pair of the, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the Dunks. They were worth $1,000. They got messed up. And so he just submitted a claim. He paid no deductible and we cut him a check for the resale value of the shoes. Now, your homeowners,
that's a huge difference than what, like I say, they're going to cut you a $180 check. They're like, hey, this shoe's $180 at Nike. Go get you another one.
Right. And that's the thing. But so I think where we kind of fell short is two things. One, we didn't put enough content out there educating people on the why it was different, because people just kept saying, oh yeah, we got homeowners. And I'm like, no, homeowners, they're not giving you resale. They're going to take that. They're going to depreciate it down. We are giving you resale and you don't even have a deductible, right? So, so I think it was for us, it was a couple things. It was just, we thought on its merits, people would sit here and be like, oh yeah, insurance, and they would get it. And we didn't put enough time and effort into really pushing content to educate them on the difference. And I think that's probably where we fell short. So that could be
Yeah.
something that we come back with down the line. But we got some things lined up. Trust me.
Hey, I'll be sitting there watching, like, what you doing over there, Mike? What's happening? No, like I said, I think what you guys are doing is awesome, man. And like I said, I think coming back around to the insurance thing, if you guys were to promote that again, I think people just are so fatigued by insurance and like no, they feel like they're getting scammed. I think once you guys get the actual knowledge out there, they'll understand like, oh, this is actually way better than what I'm doing now. I
Right.
feel like it'll be successful.
I agree. But we'll see. Time will tell, Mike. But
There you
we're
go.
cooking over here. We're trying to cook.
Yeah, man. Well, shoot, Mike, I appreciate you coming on this
Of course.
afternoon, man. I appreciate it. I love sitting these conversations. Of course, they're sneaker centric, but they're more business. I like being able to get behind the business, behind the curtain, and see what you guys are doing. So I appreciate that. And Mike, let everybody know how to find you, man.
Oh yeah, of course. Everybody, you can find. I know I always forget that part, right? You can check me out on Unboxed_app on Instagram. I believe it's the same on X. But those are pretty much the two platforms I'm pretty predominantly active on. So Unboxed_app on Instagram and on X.
Perfect, man. Well, you guys go download. If you guys have any situation like I have back here in my closet, the Unbox app will help you. Trust me, don't try to do it yourself because you'll spend a week of time that you're not getting back. So try it, Unbox. It's super cool. I personally have tried it, and it's very, very helpful. But check out Mike, check out Unbox, see what they're doing. They're always coming out with something new. Looks like there's a lot of things on the horizon as well to make it even a better experience for you guys as the users, for us as the users, I should say. So appreciate you, Mike, for coming on. And guys, make sure you do all the things. Hit subscribe to Mike and Unbox. Hit subscribe to the Sneaker History Podcast. Do the likes, the comments, all that good stuff to beat the algorithm out there. So until next time, guys, see ya.